Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Korman Productions with my co-host Stacie. We got Reid Price from Sullivan's Crossing and The Sinner. We're mainly here talking to him about Sullivan's Crossing today. This is Reid's second appearance on the channel. And we got Lindura, who's a model, actress, and of course, his on-screen sister in Sullivan's Crossing. Lindura, this is your first appearance here. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you for sure.
Thank you both so much for joining us.
Our pleasure, I'm sure.
So you want to start us off with some questions, Stacie?
Well, we know Reid pretty well. We picked his brain quite a bit in the summer when we spoke. But Lindura, since it's your first time here, let's start with you a little bit. I know you are a model. You've done a lot of commercials, print ads. Can you just tell us a little bit more about you and, whatever's going on in your world to get us started?
Yeah, that's always the hardest question. Just talk about yourself. I started off as a model and slowly transitioned to where I am now, somehow miraculously, through doing a lot of commercials. Now Sullivan's Crossing is my major TV debut, as my manager likes to say. And it's been a wild ride, a journey. And since then, I've just been working on little movies here and there and doing the audition circuit, that whole thing. So very excited for this year. I will be bouncing back and forth between Toronto, New York, and Montreal for all the various projects. So
nice.
Sounds like a busy life.
It's busy, but in a good way. All the things I love.
And I noticed on your social media, you post a lot about sustainable clothing and sustainable living. Passion project of yours? Or?
That is definitely a passion project of mine. I think working in the modeling industry, it seems important to me to highlight the places where the fashion industry can do better. And also, I just have a love for discovering people who are doing cool things. I love good people working on good things. So any chance I get to highlight chances for us to move into a more respectful direction, respectful of the earth, respectful of other people, I'm all about it. So yeah, my Instagram page has kind of turned into my venue for being able to share the things that I'm passionate about, as opposed to having to represent all these other brands and commercials. It's my own little, but this is what I actually care about. So
right. That's great.
So I noticed that Reid, you're a baseball player, and Lindura, you've been a model. Both of those aspects ended up part of your characters in Sullivan's Crossing. Is that a coincidence, or did you guys have input into your characters?
A bit of a coincidence for me. Lindura?
I have a funny story.
I knew it.
The tea on Sydney. At one point in time, when I first got hired to be on the show, I did not know this. I was just, the sides that I read for Sydney were very simple, non-specific, and then get hired and find out that Sydney is supposed to be a singer. And I'm like, okay, so lip syncing, that's a thing. We could do that. And then they tell me that there's going to be the karaoke scene, which ends up showing in the film. And for that scene, basically, Roma was like, actually, let's just hear what your singing voice is like. Because if you're supposed to be a singer, you should sound much better than Maggie. So just send us a clip singing this song. I sent a clip singing that song, and then I don't know, a few days passed, who knows how long, and they're like, so Sydney's gonna be a model.
That's great.
Feel that fits, it works perfectly for the character, and also you have experience with that. So yeah, that's how I became the model. So don't ask me to sing anything. Just gonna throw that out there.
All right. Were you nervous to sing? Were you nervous to send in that tape?
I always get nervous to sing. I can't even sing in front of my partner. I was so nervous, but I was like, you know what, I'll do. For some reason, as soon as there's a camera, it creates this buffer where I'm like, but I can do it because there's a camera.
That's good.
But truly, I shouldn't sing.
So for the karaoke scene, was that lip syncing?
No, that was Reid had to suffer through that. That was real screaming, belting.
It was very live and very wonderful, and they did a good job of playing the buzz drunk best friends reconnecting. It was really fun for me to be able to sit back at my bar and watch them have that much fun. And I think a couple ad libs from me made it in the final cut where I'm like, that was something, and I mentioned.
So speaking of that, what is the hours of operations of Shannon's?
Hey man, Rob's an everything man, and if you try to figure out his schedule, you might find out that there's actually in his world like 34 to 35 hours in the day, and things won't quite make sense. Similar to From. That man's a hard worker.
You definitely noticed that.
Right, you're
definitely
starting breakfast at 5 a.m. You're singing karaoke at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
No other employees in sight.
That's
Not
right.
that we can see. Does anybody else work there in the background that we never see?
Yeah, there are cooks there. There's a few different cooks.
Good.
There are a couple different servers, so you can't really see the whole world behind the lens, so to speak, every time. And of course, there's the story element where Rob is hiring a manager, and
right.
We were happy we finally got there. We're like, about time they listened to us. Hire some help.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I thought that was a good thing.
It seems like it was just the two of you. Running the play.
Yeah, well, there's definitely more, and we have more people in background. There's a couple different cooks and a server here or there once in a blue moon. But as the story goes, we are short-staffed, but we are not only staffed, even though it might appear that way. And so Rob tries to do the right thing and hire a manager. Of course, that doesn't go over too well with his sister. He tried, and I think lessons learned. We'll see how that goes in season 2. But I think Rob, with the passing of his wife and everything, he's just completely immersed in work and kind of dropping the ball while he's trying to dribble everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough being a single father in that situation for sure.
Yeah.
So do you consider your on-screen sister to be your partner at Shannon's, or is that just something that she thinks and not necessarily the case?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Rob's always kind of been hesitant with it because his life's so rocky since his wife passed away. I bet you he didn't want to bestow all that responsibility on his sister. I think he's probably went through a few different levels of reluctance, then accepting her fully to be a partner, and then kind of pushing her away because he sees that he might be taking her from her true own potential. And, her loving kindness and being there for little Finn and myself. Rob might observe that as being, whoa, you're doing too much for us. We don't want you to miss out on your life with all your potential. So I think it's a constant. Rob's riding this kind of messy wave, trying to do the right thing. So sometimes she's a partner, sometimes he's trying to push her away, but in a good way.
For her own good.
Of course, he kind of messes that up.
He's a partner when he really needs me. That's when we're.
Oh, that for sure too.
Harsh.
Yeah, and then when he feels like he's got it, he's like, "It's fine, you do you."
Yeah, that's true. Plus all the stubbornness of the siblings all mixed in there. Absolutely.
If there's one thing we can glean from watching this family for a season is they need to work on their communication.
Yes, but what would a dramatic show be with good communication?
Never, ever on the same page.
Frustrating, but you got to tune in to see if we figure it out.
So in season 2, can we expect to see more of the Shandons, less of them, about the same as compared to season 1?
What do you think, Lindura?
It's interesting to me. It feels like more to me, but I don't know if it is actually quantitatively more. I would say that our storylines continue to develop, and so you get to see a little more behind the scenes of each of our lives, which I think makes it feel like more.
So your story grows.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it's probably somewhat similar screen time for the both of us, but I echo exactly what you say. It's growing rather nicely. I think everyone's going to enjoy our little journeys.
Anything you guys can tease at all about season 2? Without spoilers, obviously.
Yeah, of course. The drama, I think the drama has been upped substantially. I've heard things. I haven't watched it yet, and I don't see
Right.
dailies. I've heard the quality's even better, which is kind of cool from a technical behind the scenes standpoint. But certainly up the drama, and yeah, as far as teasing storylines, I won't say anything really in that regard anymore. But yeah, but
Yeah.
I won't add any storyline stuff or tease, but definitely drama through the roof.
Yeah. And I'll just add that I think we get to see each of the characters at the crossing go through a little more. So the storylines start to diverge a bit, and we get a little more detailed into everyone's own personal lives and drama and backstory. We start to learn a lot about where these characters are coming from, which I find really cool.
Yeah, me too. It's always fun reading those scripts and seeing where they're going with things, and that was fun to see. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely looking forward to it. All right, so getting into season 1 plot points, and this is actually more Stacie's point than mine, but I have the question here. Why exactly did Rob not go with Finn to the game when Sydney was probably capable of doing the catering for that event that you stayed behind for?
Well, because if Rob went to the game and Sydney stayed behind, then you wouldn't have any drama at all.
All right, fair. Do we have a
He's going to frustrate you. He's going to frustrate you with the decisions he makes. He's just that poor guy that can't get right. All those things are realistic and probably should have been how things went down. But Rob has an obligation to the community as well, and sometimes I think that balance between community support and his kid supporting his kid, he'll kind of push his sister out there. And you know what? Maybe. Bear with me. Maybe there's a part of him that has a hard time being out there around a lot of parents after his wife passed away, and he's seeing, people in relationships and whatnot. Maybe he's, if he's got a little bit of excuse to get out of it, maybe he has a hard time with that stuff.
I was pretty hard on Rob when we covered that episode. I was like, okay, at first he's got to work, sure, that you miss things, and then it's like, oh, it's the father-son tournament, and I'm like.
Yeah.
And then, it's not until like later in the day because, you guys were all at the event. It's like, just go.
Just go, damn it. Yeah. Yes. I think, that is something that Rob struggles with. And, I think it will continue on through season 2. And he's still trying to figure that out, how to do the right thing and be the right dad and make viewers like yourself go like, finally, Rob, we see what you need to do. Why don't you do it?
I mean that's easy for us to say, and that'd be easy for us, like if this were a real situation, it'd be easy for us not in the situation to say that, but it's a lot different when you're actually in the situation. Sometimes you can't see the forest in the trees.
Yes, I think poor Rob is very complicated. His life's very complicated. He's sorting out a lot.
Yeah.
So things that should be easy are going to be tougher, and things that he thinks he's knocking out the park, he's dropping the ball. Poor bastard.
Also, I don't want to speak for you, but if I could add to that as like Sydney watching you do things and watching you like move through life and navigate things the way that you do, I feel like the trauma of like losing your wife is still something you're very much working through, even though you don't outwardly show it ever and you don't want to talk about it. And so some of the sort of strange choices that it's like, why is he always just so focused on work? Like from Sydney's perspective, it's just like, just relax, dude. Like your business is still going to be there. You don't need to micromanage everything. You don't need, like, the world will not crumble if you do not do this. But I think I don't want to give away too much either by saying this, because you'll learn a lot about Rob's backstory. I always get those names mixed up.
That's okay.
Rob's backstory.
I'm surprised that I haven't called him 3 different names already so far in this podcast. Calling him Tom, Rob, Reid.
But yeah, without giving anything away too much, I very much know that Rob has not fully dealt with losing his wife, and he reacts from that place of like stress constantly. And maybe we'll see that change. Maybe we won't.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, perfectly said. And I think going into season 2, as Rob figures things out, obviously mourning his wife. I think I'll tease that we'll see more of a friendship grow and a bond between Rob and our lead Cal, which was a nice.
And that's
season.
That was something, I have that in my notes here somewhere. Our notes are kind of all over the place, especially since we didn't have a chance to get together and kind of collate them. So we might jump around a lot, but all season, I was waiting for that chat. Like, when are these two guys going to have a conversation? The widow chat, right? And we finally got it at the end.
Yeah.
That was a really powerful scene.
Pardon me?
I said that was a really powerful scene, having them finally sit down and communicate that with each other. What was it like filming, a heavy scene like that?
Yeah, it was fun to play isn't quite the right way to put it, but it was. We were waiting for it too, to be honest. As the scripts were coming in, we're like, okay, these guys got a lot in common,
right?
And, like some heavy stuff that's unique to have in common. And so when that scene came out, I saw Chad in the trailer. He's like, dude, they added that scene at the end, man. I thought I was saying that's a great idea. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, yes, that's so great for our characters in the show. There should be a connection there. And so just reading it, we were both happy, and getting to share that excitement and then look forward to filming the scene together is a really nice thing. And then when we shot the scene, I wanted it to be good. I enjoyed the director we were working with, and he did a great job of helping coax out what needed to come out without being too over the top or grand. And I thought it was really interesting at the end. I must say, maybe give myself a little pat on the back about how it turned out, because I thought I towed the line of not being over emotional too well. Yet when I watched it back, I thought, oh, I was more emotional than I thought I was playing, which I think is a nice thing. And so, constantly learning as an actor. And so there was a lot to glean and pull from that scene. And, I even heard from my mom told me my dad said that was a really, really nice scene, Reid. And, just that little thing alone says, the world. That tells me that the scene turned out well, because he wouldn't lie.
Definitely. So Lindura, do you think that Sydney should have told Rob about Finn's behavioral problems at the game? Or
as Lindura, do I think she should have? Yes, 100%. I am an advocate, like, honesty first, always. But then there would be no drama.
Of course.
But as Sydney, I really do think that she was coming from a good place of not wanting to put more on his plate unnecessarily, and maybe also wanting to give it a little bit more time for Finn to open up to her about what actually happened. Because at this point, she doesn't know. Like,
right.
Overreacts in a baseball game, gets kicked out, and the whole way home refuses to talk about it. So Sydney trusts that Finn is a good kid and that this was someone else provoking him, or she's thinking good things and wondering, like, how can she support Finn? And given that there's so much tension between him and Rob, when he asks, like, please don't tell him, she's like, okay, I'll give it more time. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of this and we can talk it out ourselves, as opposed to like telling Rob, who's definitely going to overreact, lecture Finn, and then he's going to shut down and we're never going to know what happened. So from Sydney's perspective, I understand why she didn't tell Rob. Rob is a little bit of a hothead in some situations when it comes specifically to Finn. He's got very high standards. So
maybe she shouldn't have gone and told Maggie, was where we had the breakdown.
That's probably the right choice. Yes. Should have just kept it all to herself.
It was funny watching that, because it was like, you're watching the situation develop, and I find myself agreeing with nobody in the situation.
That's the best drama.
Right, of course. But usually I can kind of like pick a side, but in this case, I'm like, they're all wrong, like every one of them.
Yeah.
So did Finn's behavioral problems start at the game that we see for the rest of the season, or was there some stuff going on before that we didn't see?
Your opinion.
Yeah, I know a little insight into the story, and with in more depth, I know more in depth of story elements that they were playing with of what was making Finn act out. And I say that while holding off on saying what it was because it,
It's
it
been
still might come
confirmed.
out.
Right.
Nothing's
Season
been
2 stuff.
confirmed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know what they were playing with, and it didn't fully come out there. So
I
we'll
would
see
say
if it
that,
does in the future.
yeah, I would say that the behavioral problems that we see are the first time we're seeing them, like Rob and Sydney.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
not that they didn't exist before, but it's the
Ex-
first time we're seeing them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we'll see, because that's an interesting element for sure.
So it sounds like that story is definitely gonna keep going. We're gonna learn more about what's going on with Finn.
Oh, I won't say.
Okay. Is speaking of which, is there any news on a release date? I know there isn't anything out official, but do you guys have a ballpark or heard any chatter at all?
No, but I think we're going to hear within a month, two at the most. But when I guess this stuff, I'm usually wrong. But I haven't heard anything. Lindura?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
not have a release date as
Yeah.
of yet, sadly. I
Yeah.
wish we had one. I would love to know.
Yes.
I
Soon,
mean, from
though.
what it
Soon.
looks like, it sounds like we're gonna get to watch it here at the same time this season as Canada gets it. That's how
that's
they're
pretty
presenting
awesome.
it, so that'll be great.
I would
Yeah.
love that. I don't know
I
if
would
that's
love
gonna
that
be
too.
I mean, we
What's
haven't
that?
heard that like officially, but just some of the different interviews that we've read and things, it sounds like, oh, it looks like, because they're saying soon on the CW. That's what they're saying. So
Ah,
I don't think we're gonna have to
yes.
wait a year like we did for season 1 to get it here in the States.
I'd
I
like
love
them to
the
do
word
that.
soon.
I'd like them to do
Yeah.
that. What's that, Lindura? Yeah.
I love the
Oh,
word soon.
soon. Yeah, exactly.
Soon.
Soon.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah. No kidding. But if we can get the American audience and Canadian audience cohesive there, that'd be fun, because through our social media stuff and direction we give, we're told certain things to avoid in order to not confuse the audiences between
Mm-hmm.
the multiple countries that the show airs in. So it'd be nice if we could all get similar air dates, or exactly the same. I think that'd be cool. But what do I know about running a show really at the top? And it's also doing well in Australia right now on Stan Network, so that's cool.
Yeah, I saw some stuff about that. That's great.
Yeah,
Seems to be doing all around pretty good, right? Everywhere it's
yeah,
showing.
yeah. Our stats are a little different, and not quite as open as they are in the States with TV ratings. But word is the number one watched television drama in Canada. So I'm kind of cool with saying that, even though like we don't see the stats the way, like, I think that usually the networks come out and will announce their own stats, and then it'll be comparative, and then I think you can purchase access to Nielsen type ratings here. But it's the number one drama in Canada. Isn't that cool, Indira?
That's very cool. I'm glad you said that, because like I've heard rumors,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I've never heard anything official. Nice to know.
exactly.
Nice to know. But like I
I'm
get
so
it, because
sure.
like even being on the show, like I'm low key a fan of the show. It
Yeah,
sounds so weird, but like I'm excited for it to come out. Like I'm excited to also watch it.
yes,
Because
yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Absolutely, me too. It became my girlfriend's favorite show, and anytime I talk through it, she would jokingly but very seriously say, "Shut up, my favorite show's on." Well, I'm telling her how we did this scene or did that scene.
Oh, I love
She doesn't want the commentary.
That's right. She doesn't need it. Doesn't need it. No spoilers. I'm trying so hard not to give her spoilers this year. So it's really fun to sit down and watch it. And, I enjoy it as well. And I've grown to enjoy this genre more, in all honesty. I watched a lot of Virgin River recently and got into it. And I've appreciated the romantic drama. Yeah, I found out what I love about it and what everybody else loves about it. It's kind of necessary. It's a necessary genre that kind of easy to watch, and you feel it in your heart, get you thinking, and I see how it works. Where if I wasn't involved with the show, I'd probably never watch the stuff. So I'm glad it's exposed me to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's, when we started covering, I was like, well, this doesn't really fit in our wheelhouse, but
Yeah,
it got good reception. We're like, okay, let's just keep going with it. And now,
yeah,
we're here. So
Yeah,
yes,
I came to Stacie's house to do episode 1, and I said to her, I don't think this is going to get very many views, and it's like one of the top viewed videos that I've had in quite some time. So I was
That's
very
so
wrong
cool.
about that, and I'm very happy about being wrong about
So
that.
cool. So cool. And it's
Cool.
awesome that you guys are covering it. That's great. It's
Mm,
wonderful
And
show.
it's all thanks to you.
yeah.
Yeah, me.
Hmm.
I'm the bartender.
So
Reid, we're oop,
in the Sullivan's Crossing pilot, there was that whole campfire celebration thing, and Rob was performing.
Yeah.
Was that it was the guitar, I think?
Yeah. Rob plays
Then we never
guitar.
got back to that again. So
Yeah. So Rob's a singer, probably a singer-songwriter. Has played since he was pretty young. And yeah, we never really get back to it because that early in that first episode, our lead character Maggie leaves the party. So, Sydney's like, "You're gonna miss Rob sing." So yeah, apparently that guy's got quite the voice. And I tell you, at the start of when I was auditioning for Rob, as much as Lindura said she didn't know she had to sing, I thought I had to sing. And I'm telling you, I was singing and preparing to sing for my audition self-tape, and added at the end of reading my script, auditioning my script lines. And I prepared for hours to sing a couple songs that I thought were nice, that I thought Rob might sing on the guitar, some classic stuff. And I asked my little brother, who's a professional musician for years, I'm like, what song do you think I'd be able to sing that would come out nice, and blah, blah, blah. And he gave me a couple examples. I had a list. I prepared and prepared and prepared. And right when I was about to push record on my camera, I double checked the notes, and it didn't say Rob had to sing. I'm pretty sure actually it said Sydney had to sing. And I was like, oh, I misread it. And it was like a huge relief. But at the same time, I was kind of looking forward to that challenge, just a little bit out of my comfort zone. I looked forward to singing a little bit. So I do hope that I get pushed to sing in the show at some point.
yeah,
I
well,
hope
tell
so
them
too.
that's something you'd love to do. Maybe they'll circle back to that because they definitely set it up.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I'm like, a little nervous about it at the same time. So it's not like, let's do it. It's like, maybe I could sing a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
I guess it's a good time to ask this question. Lindora, between modeling, commercials, and acting, what's your favorite thing to do among those things?
Oh, I still don't have a favorite. I would like I have a favorite for right now, and it's definitely like television and film. But I would generally say that my favorites are always like what's stretching me the most, like what's causing me to grow the most. And right now that's definitely TV and film. But it could easily switch back to modeling. You never know. Um, yeah. Yeah, there's something about television and film that maybe because I haven't done as much of it, I find it very, very still to this day like challenging, but in the best way. Like in the best way where you like are excited to show up and excited to try new things and excited to be like, and this is what I learned. This is like continually learning like what works for me. Also just like watching other people. I love just like being there and being like, what's happening? What are you doing? What are you doing? How do you like I just love absorbing all the things around me. So yeah, TV and film is definitely the most exciting for me right now.
So is your relationship as close as Rob and Sydney?
As
Yeah.
in real life?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
we're brother and sister pretty much. I call her
Yeah.
sis all the time. She calls me bro. It's been such a pleasure to get to know Lindura and work with her. It's a nice brotherly sisterly connection right away. So, and
Mhm.
every time we're on set, we're just like, let's do it. The best energy being able to work with Lindura. It's great.
And also like the best support system. Like I'll be having a bad day, which no one will necessarily know. And as soon as Reid walks in the room, it's that same comfort of like having a family member come in and like suddenly you're just like, oh, everything's fine. I feel supported. And like he doesn't have to say anything. And I just feel automatically supported in that way. So Reid's the best. Reid is the
Yeah.
best.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Great.
mean, from the people we've talked to, no one has had a bad word to say about you, Reid. So
Yeah, I keep fooling him.
Yeah, you can definitely tell like you guys have great on-screen chemistry. Like you're believable siblings, I think. Although I do have to point out when we were recording our episode about the pilot, Dave's first reaction, he said when he was watching the pilot, is he thought that Sydney was Rob's daughter.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I just had to throw that out there.
Way to throw me under the bus.
This interview's over.
Don't feel bad. I look like a teenager. It's fine.
Yeah, I wasn't totally sure of the relationship at the start.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. That's the little sister. I think Rob's plays around he's like probably 38, 39, which is right very close to my age. And Sydney's probably late 20s-ish. Yeah.
Early 30s, yeah.
Yeah.
So there is
30s.
meant to be a fairly decent age gap between them.
There is meant to be definitely a big age gap.
Yeah.
That's one of the things too, watching this show, we're looking at all the characters, like how old are these people supposed to be in relation to each other? Because, we know most of their real ages, but that never means anything.
Yeah. Real ages are nothing. Although I think with us, it kind of is similar, but real ages aren't nothing. In the real ages as they relate to on script ages.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Maggie
they'll
and
start
Sydney
throwing
are the
around
only
like
ones.
number of years or something in the script, and it's like, but wait, what does that mean? Like, how do we translate that? When did that happen?
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, no, Maggie and Sydney are the only ones that are supposed to be like around the same age that I know of.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey,
So the diner. I just want to talk about that for a minute. This place looks super cool.
Yeah.
And of course, like the very first day that we saw pictures of the diner, I went and scoped out and figured out where it's actually filmed.
Yeah.
I want to go there. Like this place looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. It's called Halley Deli. Halley being short for Halifax, where we film a lot of stuff, and we film nearby towns and whatnot. But Halley Deli, and funny enough, everybody knows it. That's in that area of town. It's on a street called Gottingen Street. And it's just up from Gottingen Street on Agricola, I believe. Hope I didn't mess it up. It's on Agricola. Anyways, it's an old style delicatessen, and you get some great stuff on that menu. It's small. You got to bring cash, and like small in a good way, like that kind of quaint feeling. And I love shooting there, although it was tough for a lot of people to shoot there, the filmmakers, because it's quite compact, and a lot of times we have the luxury of shooting in studio where you can just slide out a wall if you got to get a different angle. But here, it's really tricky. You got to kind of avoid bouncing into things, and I often had to crawl over counters and get around and underneath, and guys would squeeze the walls like, you can get through, Reid. I'm like, okay. And that in the summer is quite tough. But I want everyone to love my diner while they're filming it. So I'm always like, I love it in here. It's great. Trying to spread the good vibe while everyone else is like, oh my God, I'm going to die of sweat. I was getting my car changed around the corner shortly before we started filming season 1. And I went in there for a meal, and I got talking to one of the wait staff there. And it turns out that after talking, we have all kinds of relatives in common, and
oh wow,
there's a decent possibility we're related, which is a trend with me and Nova Scotia in particular. And then a couple weeks later, we find out, I say, hey, we connected on Facebook or something. I was like, your diner that we were just chatting at, that's going to be my diner in a couple weeks.
Oh, so you didn't know that yet?
I had no idea at the time. So it was kind of cool to figure that out. And speaking of all kinds of cousins in the town, in Halifax and Nova Scotia in general, we were filming on one of our last days. And there's all kinds of people sitting in the diner. And I'm always telling people, oh, I know, I got so many cousins in this town. They're everywhere. I could be walking down the street and I'll see a relative. And I don't know them, but they'll be relatives, And I'm telling this story to one of our camera operators about my cousin. His name's Jermaine, and how he worked on set a couple of times. And the camera op's like, oh, Jermaine's great. Tell him I said hi. And I said, I will tell Jermaine that you said hi. He's my cousin. And then one of the background actors, she shouts out, Jermaine's my cousin too. And I start talking to her. I'm like, what's your name? What's your last name? And she said her last names and family names. I'm like, how you doing, cuz? Welcome to my diner. That's how it goes with me there. And it's nice that people could see it in real time, because I'm always telling people how many people I'm related to. But that was a pretty neat organic thing while we're filming.
That's great.
Yeah.
So as far as turning the Halley Deli into Shandon's, I know obviously they had to put the the oval signs up to cover the name. Was
Yeah.
there any other like prep they had to do to make that? Because it just looking at the pictures online, it looks like they
Yeah.
didn't change much.
Yeah, not too much, but I'm such a spoiled actor where I get to just show up to set and be driven to the front door and get out and be like, oh, the stickers have changed, and the couple things in the background they dressed to make look nicer behind the bar. You know what I mean by nicer, like a little bit neater or whatever. Make sure branding's not showing.
Right.
But you know, I don't want to. Obviously, a lot of prep goes into it, but I don't think they do too much change. I think they changed some light fixtures to be a little nicer for the camera as well. But yeah, I'm sure there's several things I'm forgetting. And crew people, if they were to ever hear this, would be like, "We do all kinds of stuff," and I'm like,
They changed the
much.
photos, like the stuff that's on
Yeah.
the wall. They changed some of it.
Some of it, yeah.
And like some of the signage, like the words that are on the signs, they changed some of that. But I feel like
Yes.
a lot of it.
Yeah, I
I don't know what it was like before too. So like I was
Yeah.
walking into it just thinking like this is what it is. But
Yeah.
it does seem very much like retro vibes, and it seems very original in that way. So
Yeah.
they've maintained that vibe of the space regardless of what they have changed. Like it's almost unnoticeable that they've changed things.
Right. Yeah, just looking at
But
the
I think
pictures
this is
of this
still-
place, like I
Yeah.
just love their decor. It's so cool.
It's so cool. I love Halle Deli and Shannon's Diner. It's such a special spot, and an extra special spot now that we filmed there. Yeah. And I've seen even some people, fans of the show, pop in there and take some photos. I heard that a group of women actually went there and met up for lunch that were fans of the show. I thought that was so nice to hear. So hopefully that's something that grows and grows.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we plan to visit sometime. One of these
Cool.
days we'll head north.
Hey, you got to do it. And I tell you, in Beaverbank, like just down the street from where the outpost is for Sullivan's Crossing, is the set of From.
Right. Right.
It's
Like we're like we
literally
got a lot of
5
stuff
minutes
going
away.
on up here that we can go like get some
Yeah.
footage of.
Yeah, 5 minutes
You
away.
gotta get
Although
passports and
probably-
all that.
yeah, get
Mine's
the
on the way.
passport worked out. There you go.
He hasn't submitted his application yet.
What are you waiting for?
Money.
Waits.
Speaking of From, head there for just a second. Lindura, have you watched From?
I've only watched a few episodes specifically looking for Reid.
Okay.
Because I am a scaredy cat, like scaredy
Oh.
cat. I can't watch those types of shows unless someone is with me. Like I need a guardian. So, but I did, like, I wanted to see Reid in the show. I wanted to know about it. So I did watch a few episodes, but I haven't watched it straight through. So I don't know anything about like how the mystery has evolved.
Well, nobody knows anything about that. 'Cause-
Fair.
Including us.
So I guess I'll just ask you this, Reid. If Rob and Sydney were to end up in Fromville, what do you
Oh,
think they'd
cool.
be doing?
Oh, this is so cool.
Like maybe you know,
Rob
they
would
take
be
over
at the-
Tom's bar,
Rob would be at Tom's bar.
or
If they
would you
showed
be
up
helping
now.
Mrs. Lou at the diner,
Yeah.
starting baseball team?
Yeah, no kidding. Like literally all those things. Yeah. If Finn would be there too, he'd be best buds with little what's his
Ethan.
name? Ethan, thank you.
Ethan could use a friend his own age. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't there
A little bit
scene
more
where-
age appropriate than Victor.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine they both started seeing the boy in white together and be like, oh shit. I'd be like, my poor little boy, he's lost his mom, now he's stuck in From. But yeah, I guess those would be the typical things. I think Sydney would be helping Miss Lou, especially with Sarah kind of.
There's a
being involved.
spot open.
Yeah, I'd be down at the bar, be like, that guy looks familiar. And yeah, my boy would be hanging out with Ethan playing baseball.
I got
Sullivan's
it here.
Crossing seemed to have a.
There's the Tom's vodka.
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice. Tom,
there should
Pitingo
be a
vodka.
flashback scene where
Yeah.
Tom stops in at Shandon's before ending up in Fromville.
Ooh, wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
It would be like the Parent Trap. You'd get to play yourself twice in the same scene.
I would love to do that too. I would so love to do
Let's
something fun
see.
like that.
That sounds fun. Or even just
Yeah.
make it as like a fan thing.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
And, you know, that's something that was fun. Like when we started watching Sullivan's Crossing, and you know, they're having all these beautiful like overhead shots of the landscape and all these woods. And I'm like, From is right there. Those are the same woods.
Yep, be careful. Be careful. Watch out for down trees. Matter of fact, just don't drive your car anywhere there. Just walk.
Well, we joked a few times in our show, like, the way Maggie's driving back and forth between Boston and Sullivan's Crossing. We said she must be, using a faraway tree because she seems to
Yep.
be traveling a lot.
Yep. She's getting around it somehow. She knows something.
Hey, Reid, where did your character disappear to when everybody else was out looking for the camper?
Yeah, I guess that guy was still saying he's got to cook food or something. When I read that, I want it to be more involved. I want it to be like, let's go find her. And
Right.
so I suppose he just said, they got it. They got it under control. I'm gonna go cook some rappy pie and not get my feet wet or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we didn't see your character in any of that. And then the
Yeah,
next thing we know, we see him at Shannon's and he's like, no, that's crazy when he's talking to Morgan Cohan's character.
yeah, exactly. He had stuff to do. He's got a diner to run. He's
Right,
always
right.
diner number
It's
one.
not going to run itself.
Not gonna run itself. It's like, sorry, kid, you got yourself in your own mess.
Speaking of Morgan Cohan, what's it like to work with her?
Oh, isn't she cool?
She's the absolute best. She's so talented and also so generous as a scene partner and as an actor and as a human being. Just like she's such a leader on set, which I think is so cool because she's one of like the sweetest people that I know, but can also like really like stand her ground and like stick up for you if you need it or whatever the case is. Like she's got everyone's back, which I love. And she's just so talented. Like watching her work, it's magic every time. Like
Yeah.
she nails every take. Like she's insane. She's so great.
Yeah, I agree with everything 100%. She's such a great number one to have on that show. She's so damn good, so prepared, so professional, and amazing at what she does. And if she were to ever hear this, I'd hope that it would make her blush. But it's such a, yeah, I'm just echoing everything you're saying. So it's so important to have those type of people as number one on your shows. Like this is what will help with longevity and everything. Like I couldn't say enough good things with her on and off screen, and it's so important. And yeah, she's a boss. Yep.
That's a really good point because yeah, like even like coming into a new show, myself, like the few first days that we had on set together, I was so nervous and she made that whole process so much easier just by being who she is, which is like lovely and kind and generous. And that was amazing. And I've heard similar things from other people who come on just for like 1 or 2 days to like play with us. They have exactly the same things to say about Morgan. She really sets the tone for the show and like creates that family atmosphere that you feel at the crossing. Like I think that's an incredible thing to be able to do. And she does it effortlessly. So
Yeah.
very grateful for her.
So good. And we had to film some, no spoilers, but some, important big stuff for the season finale and emotional and stuff. And, I don't get to work with her tons, but getting to work with her with some big stuff. And it was, I won't use the descriptive words, but it was a pleasure to watch her go there, to be front row and see the pressure she puts on herself, the intensity, the importance, she cares. And I see, myself with my athletic background and everything, I see a pro athlete giving it their all. And I really, really respect that. It's important to see. She helps us all be better too, man. It's so important. Yeah.
How about Chad Michael Murray?
Oh, that guy. No, total opposite.
He's the best.
He really is. So generous, so kind, so damn good at what he does. Man, we're lucky. Hey, Lindura?
We are so
Jeez.
lucky. Yeah, we're just surrounded by like really, really good, grounded people who love what they do. That's also really important.
Love what
like,
they do.
We all really want to be there.
Want to be there. Yeah.
And it shows in the care that we give and like the way that we show up to do the work and also just how generous we are with each other and like everyone's willing to help each other out, which is really cool.
Yes. Yep. Chad gives me these little tips sometimes with like hold your hold your eyesight here, pause there, do this, do that. And they're like, little mentorship type of suggestions, and he doesn't overdo it at all, but he picks the perfect time. He had mentioned once, not to reveal too much. He said, "Yeah, I wish people would tell me these little things when I was getting rolling." And I'm like, just grown to appreciate him so much, even more and more all the time. And such a kind guy, and getting to know him off screen too. I really appreciate it to be able to, have a friendship with a guy like that with so much knowledge and be such a generous person too. It's such a pleasure to have these opportunities, man. It's so great.
Yeah. Lindura, I'll ask you this first. What's the favorite scene from season 1, obviously, that you were in?
Oh, good question. Oh, that's hard. Oh, that's so hard. My favorite scene to watch was a popular one. It's the scene where Andrew, that's his character name, yeah? Andrew
Yeah.
Cal. That whole
Which is
scene,
Cal?
that whole night was just such a fun time, because
Yeah.
it's very rare that we're all together on set.
Yeah.
So that was one of the few times where all of us were in a room together for quite some time. And it was also a night shoot, so we were going into the wee hours of like, are we still normal or are we not? So it was so fun to shoot those scenes, and also because I love just observing and watching and like being in it. It was like you could feel all of the energy in that room, like viscerally feel it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I was acting, I was just there.
Yeah.
It was they're brilliant. They're brilliant actors, and watching that as a new actor coming in was really instructional, and also just it was great to be there. So that was one of my favorite scenes. But then also being in a canoe was really fun. I was wishing that lasted longer. I love that.
And then on the flip side, do you have a favorite scene that you weren't in, like from watching the show?
Oh, good question.
Mm.
Sometimes I just want to be in the background of like Rob's conversations with people. Just giving like side eye, or just doing a little
What do you
bit in the
think?
background.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. I will say, like, I would love to have more scenes with more people. Like, I would just love to start getting more screen time with different people, just to
Branch out a little bit.
Yeah, just to play with like what those dynamics look like for Sydney, and like, what do those relationships look like? But then also like selfishly just for me, because I love all of our cast and I would love to see them more.
Yeah. And Reid, what about you? Favorite scene that you were a part of in season 1?
Yeah, I loved shooting the bar fight scene. Everyone was so great in that. And what I was most excited to play this character Rob that had like an arc going on. And the first major plot point that I saw that I enjoyed filming and enjoyed how it turned out was when I was given poor Sydney shit for telling Maggie about my TV son getting in fights and stuff. So when I pull up in my truck and I storm in with the raging fire behind me, and I very rudely pull Sydney off to the side, I thought that showed some layers of Rob that were like,
right in front of all your customers.
Yeah. And I tell you that
I criticized Rob for that a little bit.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I thought that shouldn't have happened there.
He was out of pocket, man. He was out of pocket. But he was mad, and there was even a part in that where I was directed by Gail to grab her arm and spin her around, and I think I did a bit in the final. I'm not too sure, but that was somewhat quickly told not to do that because I think he looked a little too mean. So that scene was towing a line, of,
right.
Like, let's make sure Rob's not too scary here.
Right.
Like that could have easily been like a notch or two more, and it's like, is this guy abusive? Like this is
right. Yeah.
So trying to figure that out
go there
was very important to toe that line, and I thought it turned out really nice. And the reactions from Lindura as Sydney were like, not like I'm doing, but like so good, and it made what I did even better. And she's just being so solid in that scene of being dumbfounded by how rude her brother was. I really enjoyed how that turned out, and I thought that set all the stakes higher for the show. It made us more real and made the audience, I hope, care more. That was a big one, and it's just such a privilege and wonderful challenge to get to try to pull those things off. I could go in there and fall flat on my face and provide a shitty job. But I'm glad that they're turning out pretty well.
Well, I will say you're like very easy to work with, though. I feel like we're like, one of my favorite scenes with you is where like in episode 10, I think I could be misquoting the episode, but like towards the end where we like finally I confront you about hiring someone and then I leave. I'm like, okay, well then I'm gone. It's so easy to be in scenes with you because you always, I don't know, there's something very, very real about the Rob Sydney dynamic that I think both of us just connect to and we just instinctively get. So like I think I surprised myself in that scene because I didn't expect to feel the way I felt once we shot it. I thought I was going to be a little more angry, to use a very basic word, but like a little more angry and a little less hurt, which can sometimes be the same emotion, but I don't know, somehow like you just pull out these like vulnerable emotions out of me without trying. So it's really, really fun to work with.
Oh, thank you. That's so important. I feel the same way and flip that right back on you. And it's something about just connecting. I don't want to get too spiritual or whatnot, but there's some kind of good connection and trust that where you can build things a little easier than you might playing with, somebody else. I suppose we're kind of lucky in that sense. I agree. And I think we have those moments in season 2. Where I remember filming a scene with you in season 2 and I said to you, I didn't know it was gonna feel that way. I've been preparing for this for a couple weeks. And then that's the real fun aspect of acting and the surprise and everything. And then you just hope to God that what you felt ends up translating to the screen. So hopefully you guys at home can enjoy it. But I think we have those moments in season 2, but I sure am glad you feel that way, Lindura. It's so important for me to help people feel comfortable that I'm working with and try to be, that's the old athlete in me too. We're trying to be supportive and helpful. And it doesn't mean that I blah, blah, blah too much, but just try to be perceptive and all that stuff. And I think we get a little lucky too, but we got a good connection. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I had an idea for a spin-off with the Shandons. Basically, Rob is by day, he's taking care of his son, running his diner. And then at night, he's a vigilante running around with a baseball bat telling drunks that when they're done, when you say they're done.
Bro.
By the way, that was my favorite line. That was my favorite line in the season from you.
Thank you. That was one script point where when I was reading that, I was like, hell to the let's go.
Let's
go. And I do think they had me pull back slightly on that. Towing that line of being, I can be a bad guy if I have to be on screen and all of a sudden Rob looks really scary. It puts the fear of God into some people. And I was like, I think you told that line pretty good, but I loved saying that line. When you're done, you're done. And the funny part about that line is when I say you're done about the frat boys drinking, I had my son's little tiny baseball bat. And Chad and a couple others like, come on, give the guy a good bat. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's not how big the bat is, it's how you use it. Just let me. And I think it all turned out pretty fine. And Vigilante Rob, let's go, man. I love it.
And Sydney could be sidekick too.
That's right.
Like a Robin-like sidekick.
Oh, that would be cool as hell.
Yeah, put me in all black. I'll just start fight choreo. Yeah, no one will see it coming.
I like this. I like it a lot.
I've been taking some stunt classes, so now I know why. Now I know why.
Yeah, nice. There we go.
Nice.
Sydney, I'm curious. At the very end of the season, you say to Raph that the reason that you felt like you needed to leave is that you were interfering with Rob's relationship with his son, and that Rob felt that way. Now, do you think that's actually true, or was that just her kind of projecting? Does Rob really feel that way in your mind, or is that just something that you kind of...
I think two things can be true. And I think Sydney is not willing to tell her full truth in that moment. So even to herself. So she has rationalized her leaving as he needs time with his son. I'm getting in the way. Like she's made it about Rob. But truthfully, there's more going on there, which we start to see as season 2 begins. And yeah, I would say like Sydney seems to have her stuff together the whole. No, well, no, that's not true. Not with Rafe. Other than with Rafe, Sydney seems to have her stuff together throughout that whole season. And that really, I can't give it away too much, but that illusion kind of falls apart in season 2. So you get to see like really what's going on there.
I honestly didn't think I was gonna get. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna get an answer to that question at all.
Very triggering for her when Rob brings up like what happened in New York and what's now happened after that. It's very triggering for Sydney. And instead of dealing with that, she's basically made it about, okay, you don't want me here. Okay, I'm clearly in the way. I'm getting in the way of everything. Let me just self-pity. I'm going to leave and he'll be fine without me and he'll be better off without me. All of those like narratives that we tell ourselves when something goes wrong and we don't really want to deal with the real problem. So that's what I end up conveying to Rafe. Do I truly believe that at that time? Yes. Does that stay the same throughout? No. So we'll see more of it. I'm excited for season 2. I'm very excited for season 2.
Yeah.
Part of how I took that whole situation, and I could be completely wrong, but you know, Sydney's so like afraid to commit not only to a relationship with Rafe, but I feel like she's even struggling with the level of commitment within her own family, you know, like it's all too much for her. And you know, when Finn was like called her mom when he was half asleep, I feel like that scared her, you know, and she's like, oh, this is a little much for me. I need to like back off a little. And maybe I just, you know, I'm getting too close, even though this is my family. I can't handle this level of like, you know, commitment and relationship in my life.
I don't want to say too much, but definitely I think that's what we hoped the audience would feel watching that scene. So I'll leave it there.
She's definitely kind of running away. And maybe even in her own head, she's saying he's pushing me away, but it's all her doing, I'm pretty sure.
There's always an element of running away in Sydney. She's the type of person that would rather focus on everyone else in both good ways and bad ways. So whether like she wants to be there for other people, and that's a great thing because it means she's like the go-to helper in town. Like you need something, she's there. You need support, she's there. Whatever it is, like Sydney will be there. Like she's a ride or die. But that can be a form of running away from her own self-development, her own past trauma, whatever it is. It's all ways of pushing things onto other people. So yeah, I think some of her relationship with Finn and why she's like, obviously family is family and she always wants to be there for family, but I think the reason she dived in so deep and like has maybe that Finn calling her mom starts to spark something in her of realizing, oh, okay, that's maybe deeper than should be the case even. And is that a bad thing or a good thing? Or is that just like a thing that we can brush off and pretend that never happened? And all of those thoughts, I think, are starting to like float through her mind when that happens.
When reading the scripts, obviously for season 1, because that's all you can share with us, was there anything either of you that really surprised you? Like anything that you didn't think that's where it was going? Any big shocks for you?
Oh yeah. I did, spoiler, I did not see Sully being the reason for, I don't know why I'm putting it in quotes, being the reason for Lola's, what am I trying to say? I didn't know he hit her with the car.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't
whoa.
see that coming. I didn't see that coming at all.
Whoa, when I read that
That's
final
funny because
script, I was like, whoa.
that's funny because that's a plot twist that I actually predicted as soon as they brought it up.
Yeah.
Really?
That's funny. That's funny because maybe I heard it from you guys. I check out you guys' podcasts and stuff once in a while.
Oh, yeah?
I almost said, it was a huge surprise for me, but I was going to say, though I've heard of people that said they saw it coming, which is like, you're just perceptive mofo.
Sometimes.
We found through this season a lot. It was very predictable for us, but I said that's just because we this is what we do, right? We dive really deep. We're used to, examining things like From, where you have to pull it apart word by word, and this is just a little more straightforward than that. So,
yes.
but
no, it's true. Yeah.
We had guessed that it was Sully. Dave was really like, no, it's Sully. I had guessed it was either going to be Sully or Maggie's mom. I thought it was one of them.
Oh, that's a good guess.
But what shocked me watching the finale was the order of events. I kind of thought that had happened, and maybe that was one of the factors that led to them leaving. But the fact that it was him chasing after her is when it happened. That hit me. I was like, oh, I didn't see that happening. Like that was the order of how things played.
That's a nice thing when you see something coming. So you get the satisfaction of predicting it correctly, yet there's tweaks to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the good stuff. I like that. Yeah. I'm glad that it unfolded that way for you. Yeah.
I didn't see Maggie's pregnancy coming at all. It came and I was like, wait, what? No, really?
Yeah.
For real?
That means Andrew's sticking around.
Yeah. I was like, do another test. Test.
Yes, no kidding. And I've seen some people saying, well, who's the father? And other opinions.
It's pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious. Yeah, if you actually watch the series.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you, you never know.
Speaking of that, how do you guys feel about the character of Andrew?
Oh, yes.
Not Alan, of course. I'm sure he's great, but
how
do you feel about Andrew?
So good. Andrew, I remember there was a poll online during season 1. Are you team Andrew or team Cal? And I said, I'm going to be the devil's advocate and pick Andrew. But yeah, that guy, if I met him in real life, I'd be like, oh, you're a pompous prick. And, but then, he's got flaws. He addresses them. He seems rather human, a highly successful guy. I think maybe there's a lot more to be understood than just calling him a pompous prick, I mean,
he seems like he has decent intentions. He just, I don't know.
He's just kind of clueless. He's a clueless human being.
Yeah, and doesn't that happen a lot of times with highly intelligent people? I've found it, very highly educated people that just kind of missed some rungs along their way of wonderful, high-achieving ascension, that, some of their communication is more prone to be a little bit off, or just, missing the mark a little bit and oblivious to something.
Clueless is definitely the right word. I feel like I was rooting for Andrew, as Sydney, I was rooting for Andrew in the beginning. Because I didn't know him that well. And I hadn't learned anything about him that was particularly incriminating.
Right.
So I don't think I really disliked him all that much until shit hits the fan and we get that whole drama with the texts and drama with the everything basically and his reactions.
And the bar fight.
Yeah. But then watching the show, from day one, I was like, ew. What was it? Something about the dress? They're in the car and he's talking about the way she's dressed or something like this. And automatically I was like, nope, you're a garbage human.
Got it.
But as the season goes on, and it's really interesting because the way that Alan plays Andrew, it makes him impossible to hate, in my opinion. For me, I feel like there's something that he does to that character where it's that element of cluelessness, where it's almost like you're like, okay, maybe he's not actually that vindictive. He's just kind of clueless and emotionally unintelligent.
Yeah. I think
that's
Andrew,
his fatal flaw.
Yeah. I think Andrew tries to act like a good guy. He's putting on a performance for what a good guy should act like. And that's maybe the quality that you're seeing. That was my takeaway. That it's like a mask that he's putting on. It's not who he really is.
It's just a little bit of toxic masculinity. And like, do we blame him or do we blame his upbringing?
Right.
Like,
You have any other questions, Stacie?
I think we covered most of what I have in my notes here.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we go, do you guys want to plug anything? Read anything new going on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, just obviously season 2 soon of Sullivan's Crossing, and season 3 is being filmed from right now, which you all know. They're all working
Hopefully
really
we'll
hard.
see Tom in there.
Yeah, right?
I know you can't tell us, but
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
pretty confident we'll see Tom again. I think at this
Yeah.
point it wouldn't make sense for him not to come back again.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think everyone loved that convention of the conversation with Jade in the bar, and I love shooting with David. So if it's a similar thing but different pile, who knows? I'm ready to rock, and yeah, that's all I'll say there. And it was ran into Harold at the airport not too long ago, so it was great to reconnect with him and catch up with each other and see how he's been doing. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
And,
Is Morgan working on the series this season too?
yes, my girlfriend Morgan. She is in the makeup department again this season, so she's there every day. And they are filming in the winter right now, and that's going to be something different. That's obvious that they're shooting in the winter. So my gifts to her this year were all warming related things. So she's got this cool like quarterback type pouch here and a battery charger to keep a vest warm, and I even bought her a heated blanket for home, and I think heated gloves or something. So we're keeping her ass toasty on set. So she's toughing it out, and shout out to all the crew that's working their ass off on those cold days. Of course, cast as well too, but crew's got to grind it out like no other, and they're putting in some work for you. I can spoil that. And from what I'm hearing, people are very excited about what's being filmed. Yeah.
I've seen some of the set photos, and it definitely looks cold and miserable outside.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's crazy. From Baby season 3, that show keeps growing and growing too. So to be a part of From and Sullivan's while these shows are, it's so cool, and I love that you guys are covering it. It means a lot. I don't know that's the truth. It does. Like I feel like I'm too small to say that, but it does. It's really great. And I'm shooting a couple other things. I got a movie coming up soon that's called Dancing on the Elephant, where I'm going to be playing a nurse in an old folks home. That's a really fun script. And a movie I filmed a couple years ago called The Madones. The Madones, Madones, is it's about schizophrenia in an old singing group, female singing group, and I played a police chief in that. We filmed a couple years ago. That's getting a little theater run here very soon, sometime in February. So yeah, and I also had a little part in a movie I'm really looking forward to called Sharp Corner, which is a really, really interesting script starring Ben Foster, I believe, is the lead in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really cool script, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's like dark, not a dark comedy, but it's dark with like a little bit of comedic elements, but like some serious tones there. And oh my God, I'm going on too much. We just finished filming season 3 of King and Pawn, which is the little show that could here in Nova Scotia that I play the lead in, where I run a pawn shop and full of quirky characters and goofy fun, and we get ourselves in all kinds of drama and trouble. And word is the Trailer Park Boys have that's going to be coming out on their network called SwearNet soon. So so pumped about that. Oh my God, I had more to say there. Thanks. I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, if we get a chance to see any of that in the United States, we'll definitely cover around the channel, at least some of those things.
Yeah, we got to get you guys to be able to see Don or Dad in the Tractor for
We really wanted to see that. We were really looking for it.
Look, man, I'm going to find a way to break the law. Look, I'm saying it, man. People should see that, especially want to see that. Just arrest my ass. I'll get it to you somehow.
All right.
Yeah, Shelley was basically just like, I don't want to talk about it.
I know.
The fact that we can't get it anywhere.
Yes, filmmaking and distribution is a whole beast that I barely know about, but it's a beast, and you guys should be able to see it. You should have access to it, and I don't have a clue whose fault that is, if anybody's. But what I do know is that you should be able to see it, and it's a nice little movie, and Oh my God! Look, I'm really showing off now. They gave me an award for that movie.
We knew about that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
knew about that.
Congrats
Although I
about
thought that
on
you had
that.
gotten it much later than you did because you had shared a clip from that award ceremony, and I thought like it was fresh. And then I realized like, oh
Oh,
no, that was like a year old that
did
he'd
that
shared.
pop up because I what's it called? Put a pin in it. I think maybe it popped up in the
Oh,
feed
maybe.
because I pinned it because I didn't repost it.
Didn't you
Hmm.
But
also win Best
uh,
Actor in Nova Scotia?
me?
Yeah. Wasn't that a
The Coast, the newspaper here, the Coast has a Reader's Choice thing. I was bronze. So it was, yeah. Elliot Page was gold. Um, oh my God, I messed up their name for a second. I panicked.
Nope,
Yeah.
you said it right.
Okay, good. Elliot Page going gold. They have such a huge following. And silver was Jonathan Torrance, who's got an amazing following here. So my agent very nicely said, they got these bigger cult followings, huge followings. You're like the real winner. You're the real little
Yeah.
guy, big guy with the bronze. So, but
I
just to
mean,
be nominated there and be
it's
voted was
impressive
like,
just to
that's
have your
surreal.
name next to
Oh,
theirs,
it's so
right?
neat.
No
It's
kidding.
so neat. And I'm truly humble about it. And I'm embarrassed that I showed you that
You
award,
deserve it.
but it was right there. But those things are so nice. Thank you. Thanks, Lindura. Thanks. I'd like
So
to thank my
Lindora,
mom, my dad, no, I'm kidding.
Lindora, before we started recording, I asked you what you were working on now. You didn't get a chance to answer the question, but now's a good time.
Yeah, TBD. We will see what this year brings. So far, just modeling projects in New York, and one in Montreal. And the
Yeah.
rest will be determined. We'll see.
Yeah.
You're just being your wonderful
Yeah.
self.
Yeah. I shot a little pitch project with like a director that I worked with like 3 or 4 years ago. They're pitching to a network like a TV series, a mini series that they want to shoot. So shooting the pitch for that was really fun. Maybe that will
Oh,
turn into
nice.
something else.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got anything else that you want to plug or anything?
No, just watch season 2, please and thank you.
Yeah.
Because we really would love a season 3 and 4 and so on and so forth.
I think
We
it might
definitely
happen.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like we're just getting rolling. Like, don't stop this train.
Yeah.
I mean, Virgin River's on what, like 6 or 7 now?
Yeah, I
Something
think
like that.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. They're doing it. We got some great leadership and great writing, and Roma at the helm is boss lady making the dang thing happen. Roma Roth, and we gotta keep her going, man. So you guys keep podcasting about it and all that stuff. It
Yeah,
helps.
please.
We
Thank
will,
you so
definitely.
much thank you
We
so much
will,
for having me on
absolutely.
to talk.
And
No, the
we'd
pleasure
love
is
to have
definitely
you
ours.
back after we
Yeah.
watch season 2 to talk about that if you guys are available anytime.
Of course. Yep, absolutely.
Definitely.
All right.
All right.
Well, it was definitely good to have you guys. I think we kept you a little bit longer than we said we were gonna, but
Well, that's okay.
it was a pleasure talking to both of you. Lindora, good talking to you for the first time. Reid for the second, and hopefully we'll have some more conversations in the future.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye, TV sis.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Right. So that was our interview with Reid Price and Lindora. Some good stuff in that conversation, I thought.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely talking to
They
them.
had some great stuff to say, and it sounds like they have a lot of fun filming Sullivan's Crossing.
I'm almost jealous. Wish I could be on that set with them.
I know, right? Well, we gotta make the trip and go at least visit all those sets because there's definitely a lot of stuff up there in Nova Scotia that I think we'd have fun filming and putting a nice little video together.
Absolutely. So, I think my goal for this year, other than my Korman Productions ones, are probably to get my passport thing going so we can go down there.
In the works. So let's get yours in the works and then we can plan a trip.
All right, that sounds good.
So if anybody wants to help support that trip, our links are down below.
Right. So we would like to hear from you. What'd you think of this interview? What'd you think of Sullivan's Crossing in general? Any thoughts you have? Stacie can be reached at.
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, and Threads at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join one of my Korman Productions Facebook pages. You can buy something from the Korman Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee, which is a new way to support content creators such as ourselves. You can do a new membership, 99 cents. That's a new thing that you can do on our channel, thanks to being monetized. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribing to our channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Korman Productions, signing off.